Toyin Poju Oyemade is a woman of many parts. Her life's interests span media, ministry, and music, and her passion is to share knowledge via these interests to influence, impact, and inspire individuals and societies. She studied mass communication at the University of Lagos and subsequently got a master's degree in media and communication from the Pan-Atlantic University and a certificate in broadcast journalism from the New York Film Academy and Del York International. Toyin's work with several major media organizations led her to establish the production company, Storyteller Media, a media organization creating diverse media content for individuals, corporate organizations, and media platforms. In 2014, she set up Kingdom Culture with the vision to share and magnify the life, light, and love of Jesus to the world. She is lovingly married to Pastor Poju Oyemade, Senior Pastor, Covenant Christian Center. Toyin is set to make the world a better place by impacting the lives of everyone positively. APR Global welcomes Toyin Poju Oyemade to the 2020 Emergence Conference, Illuminate.
Emergence Conference 2020. It is so good to be here, and I am so excited because I believe that this conversation and this conference is so needed at such a time as this, having engagements on several topics that really need to be spoken to. I would start by saying thank you to the Emergence Conference for this invitation. Thank you to the convener of the Emergence Conference for inviting me to be a part of this. I am honored indeed. My name is Toyin Poju Oyemade. I've been given the task, the mandate to speak on the topic, the storytellers driving impact and influence using your story. And when I saw the topic, I was quite excited because I run an organization called the Storyteller Media, a content creation and production organization. So it kind of seemed like it was along my alley, but in preparing for it, I've had to really have a rethink of who is a storyteller, what it means to be a storyteller, and the power of a storyteller in such a world as we have today. And so let me start from the very beginning. Who is a storyteller? I know that many times when we hear the word storytellers, many of us just think, it's for those that are in the core media space, in the core media field, doing the job of broadcasting, filmmaking, writing, and all of that. They are the ones telling stories. I have no business with that. I am just, in my profession, doing my own thing. I am not a storyteller. But I want to burst that myth today and let you know that indeed we are all storytellers. From the moment that you were conceived in the womb of your mother, your life began to tell a story. You began to influence and impact her. You were born, someone looked at you and said, oh, from the moment that I set my eyes on you, I was never the same again. Your life began to tell a story. Your life began to weave a story together that it is still telling today and that it will continue to tell. There are people looking at you that are influenced by you, the way you look, the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you walk, the things you do, whether they are your family members, whether they are your friends, or whether on social media. Each and every one of us is in the business of storytelling. And so that is the foundation that I want to lay today, that as from today, do not think about yourself and think, oh, you are just some ordinary person. Number one, if you are a kingdom person, you are not an ordinary person. If you're a human being born into this world, every single person has been born with a voice, has been born with a gift, has been born with your own measure of impact and influence and gifting that you are meant to bring into the world. So you are a storyteller, and everything that you are doing is telling a story. Now let's bring this into the place of mass media, where really this conversation is going to, because you say, okay, well then I'm a storyteller, okay, maybe it's just my family, my friends, my brother, my sister, my this and my that. But the world has changed. Media as we know it, or as we began to know it, really came into the world in the 1900s. In 1906, they started with radio, which was very experimental. And it wasn't until the year 1920 that radio became a commercial media tool. And it's interesting that we are in the year 2020. So it's taken a 100-year journey to see how the media has evolved from something that was just sound, that then became pictures and sound in black and white, that then became pictures and sound in colored, and now wasn't just something on a big TV set. The TV sets were getting smaller until they became something as small as a hand phone. And it wasn't just the fact that it was a hand phone that we could hold, it was the fact that you could then pick up your phone, send something out that could reach someone in 10,000 miles, continents far away from you, places that even if you thought about going there today, the money, the time, everything would be so much, but you can get there literally in the twinkle of an eye. That is how the media landscape has changed, and that is how the world has changed. But how does this then affect us as storytellers? It is the fact that we all now need to know that we are all in the business of media. Before, we were just in the business of consuming media and how that media had an effect on us. Media was in the hands of the powerful and the rich, the owners, the big networks. You know, we couldn't see anything. We were just eating, consuming. I remember when my media life changed. I was 10 years old. Prior to that, we only watched the channels that we could get in my country, Nigeria. And one day my father came home and said, oh, he bought something called a dish. And this dish was installed. And for the first time in my life at that age, I was seeing all sorts of things, all sorts of people, hearing all sorts of accents, things I had never been before exposed to, and this dramatically changed my world. But what has happened now is, at that time, I was still a consumer. We have gone from being consumers of media to creators of media, and the power that was in the mass media was that just unlike the fact that I could only influence and impact the next person beside me or the 5 people in my family, I could, with a device, speak to thousands and millions of people across the globe. Before the advent of social media and before social media, digital media grew, it was only the people as well, it was only the people in power or the rich that could have it, or that could at least have access to put their contents on it. So what did social media come and do? It totally came to democratize the landscape of media so that each and every one of us are not just storytellers, but we are mass media storytellers, whether you like it or not, whether you have 10 followers, 50 followers, people that don't know you from Adam, that are just consuming your content, that are just following you on a certain social media platform, you are influencing and impacting on a major scale. And I like to say that there are 3 kinds of people when it comes to this, right? Now, they are the first sort of people who think, well, it's just social media, it's just digital media, these tools are there, how do they really affect me? How is what I am doing really affecting any other person? I'm not a voice, I'm just a solo human being, my voice really does not count. So there are those people who have not really come to understand the gravity of how the world has changed today. Then there's a second level of people who are using these tools and who are just using it as they wish, with no sense of form of responsibility. And responsibility is very key in today's world that we are living in. I think it's actually everything. So they know that these tools are there. They know that there's some form of influence and impact that they are having to the people that they engage with and that engage with them on these social media platforms or on all of these platforms. But, you know, it's just what it is. Then there are the third set of people who fully understand the power of the media in transforming lives, in getting people to go a certain direction, in programming minds, in getting people to buy a product, in getting people to act in a certain way, and who are day in, day out creating their contents in order to shape your mind, in order to change your life. So you think you woke up today and you just decided to wear yellow. Oh, the reason why you have a certain belief system is just because you have the certain belief system. No. Everything that we are consuming, everything that we are seeing, everything that surrounds us, the kinds of people that you follow on social media are all telling you stories that are influencing and impacting your world. And you as well, a co-creator, you are also putting things out there that is telling somebody else's story that is influencing and impacting their world. So what does this mean for all of us today as a storyteller, as an influencer? And I know that this word influencer itself has become a thing now, so that we all think, oh no, it's only until you have 1 million followers you're an influencer. It's only until you are a celebrity and, you know, celebrity, you are an influencer. No, each and every person is an influencer. If you are influencing one person, think of the ripple effect of that one person touching somebody else, with the information that you gave them, and that other one person getting to somebody else, and just think of it in 10 followers, 50 followers, 1,000 followers. Every single person is an influencer on a certain level. And what does this mean for you as a person of the kingdom? It means the kind of intentionality and deliberateness that you now bring to the table, understanding that your voice needs to be heard, understanding that your story needs to be told, understanding that you need to speak your truth, understanding that you don't just repost and retweet anything, understanding that every single thing that you put out there has the potential to spark a fire, means that it changes the way that we engage with life completely. Now, when we are talking about stories, I know that many of you think, so does that mean all of us need to tell the stories of our lives, the stories of this? I'm not that kind of person. No, that is not what we are saying. Which is why I said earlier that right now, everybody is a storyteller on a certain scale. There is no, these are the media people. Every business now is a media business, literally. What media has become today has changed the landscape, that you have to think of yourself as a media business and think of everything you do in line with their media business. Let me give an example. So I have a doctor friend who just recently decided to start a couple of videos on Facebook, Instagram, one of the platforms. And, he said he just decided, there are many funny myths out there concerning some medical things, concerning some this things and that things. And he just thought, let me just give out my own fair share of knowledge. It doesn't cost me anything. I sit down with my phone in front of me, I speak into it and all of that. He put out the first video. He got 1,000+ views in a couple of days. He was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He was like, what's going on here? And people were putting comments and everything. He put out the second video. Another couple of 1,000 comments as well. All he's talking is medical stuff, like 5 minutes to break. If you have a headache, this is nothing. His life. He's just speaking according to his industry, according to his line, according to his path. And he thought, you know what? I can educate people. I can inform people. He put out the third video, and people started reaching out to him to say, we think you need to take this thing seriously. Buy lights, buy microphone. That is storytelling. That is driving impact and influence using your story. And we say that we are in a knowledge economy, right? Now, what that means, I know that sometimes people feel there's so much knowledge out there. The world is already oversaturated. What do I want to say that people don't already know? But that's someone who put out information there that I'd have thought people already knew. And people are commenting like, oh my God, thank you for this. This has helped me. This is enlightening. Get to the point where you understand that as a kingdom person, you have a voice that God has given you. Now, this can either be done via media, directly, however it is. It also doesn't mean that everybody needs to do this or do that. Know what it is, right, that God has said is how you will share what your story is on whatever platform that is, and how you would bring that to birth and bring that to life. And I believe we're in the time and in the season where indeed as kingdom people we need to arise and shine. I'm going to read a scripture out that is one of my favorite scriptures. It's a scripture that I've always loved to use for the media. It's in Isaiah chapter 40 verses 9. And it says, O Zion, you who bring good tidings, get up into the high mountain. O Jerusalem, you who bring good tidings, lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your God. Lift up your voice with strength. I want you to know, watching this, that number one, you have a voice. That number two, you have a story to tell. That number three, the world needs to hear your voice. And I find that sometimes as kingdom people, we are always the most timid or intimidated for some reason. It's almost like everybody's already doing something. Everybody's already saying it. Why should I? Why should I know? And we give ourselves excuses, all sorts of strongholds, all sorts of limiting belief systems that are holding you back in your head from birthing that which God has placed you. Remember, the word of God says that the world is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. And I believe that the tool of technology is one thing that God has given us all for this time and season to speak truth. To speak truth. And in these days, there is so much out there that is not truth. We say there is so much out there, but there is a lot out there that is not truth. There is a lot out there that needs to be debunked. There is a lot out there that needs to be demystified. There is a lot out there that people need understanding. So whether you are in this industry, in that industry, you are just doing this, you are just doing that, what is your story? What is the story that you are believing God is asking you to tell? And this needs direction as well. I know that sometimes we hear these things and there's that, they've said that we should go and tell our story. Let's jump and tell our story. No. Wait upon the Lord. Let him guide you. Let him give you direction. Let him give you revelation. Everybody has their unique calling. Everybody has their unique gifting. And I always like to say that no matter how many 10 people you think are doing certain things, there's no voice like your voice. There is no uniqueness like your uniqueness. There is no story like your story. So what story are you allowing your life to tell that God put you on the earth to tell? Are you allowing your influence? And sometimes I think we also count ourselves out because you're like, they are the stars, they are the superstars there. They are the ones that have 10,000s of people following them. They are the ones that have this person and that person. No. Like I said, think of the ripple effect of one. Think of the ripple effect of one. Think of the compounding effect of one. It is a powerful thing. Where the world has come to today, there needs to be kingdom people powerfully playing in the space of pushing stories, changing the narrative, putting the real truth out there. Putting the real truth out there. For our generations, for generations to come. In fact, the way the world is going now, it will get to a point people will not even know what is true anymore. White and black is no more white and black. And sometimes it is because the people of the kingdom that know the truth are not raising their voice to speak the truth. Speak the truth to things happening in systems, in lives all around. Speak the truth to your industry. Speak integrity. Speak justice. Speak equality. Speak the truth. How are you speaking your truth? How are you allowing your story to be told? How are you not holding yourself back and saying, there are these 5 people, how can I help them? There are these 6 people, how can I change them? If I change these ones, they will affect these ones. This is the journey of my life. I have learned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe everybody that is part of this conference, you're already at a certain stage in life. You're at a certain stage where you've gotten to a point where at least you've learned some things. You've not learned everything, but even all of us, we're on a journey. We're a work in progress. But the things that you've learned, the things that you know, the things that you've suffered, the things that you've struggled, is somebody else's blessing. Is somebody else's revelation. So never count yourself out and think you are not ordinary. You are so priceless. You are so unique. And your story is so special. I know that I'm out of time, but I'm just going to say to remind us again, your voice needs to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. Don't hold back and never count out what your circle of influence is. Whether you want to use the media or you are using just the people that you directly influence, there is something you have right now that somebody else needs. And that is what we mean when we say, dear storyteller, tell your story. On this note, I've come to the end. I want to say thank you once again. I hope that you've taken something out of that would absolutely transform the way that you see yourself, the way that you see the world, and the impact that you bring to the world. God bless you.